I have $8 right now in my bank account. I'm gonna drop 16.
8. He got 8 M's in his bank account.
Because it's like, oh yeah,
I need a sick beat today because I want to do that.
How is this gonna take the whole class period?
That's how we got kids like
Oh wait, it's right. Our class you getting a bird.
Am I getting a bird?
No, he's
That's a
getting
very
an
deep question
alligator.
right
Hey,
now, right?
then why do you have bird allergies? I answered
Great
wrongly
question.
on your poll on Instagram. Your poll on Instagram, I was editing it and I
Open that door, bro.
but I am not allergic.
We live under
To birds?
Okay, good idea. Good
Open
moment.
the discussion.
That's right. We're open.
What? Why are you
Oh, is
not?
that
No,
I
I'm in.
got you.
It's just
Okay.
You get it.
Kill him now.
What? Got it.
Oh, my friends bring my Zerg goggles.
I'm gonna do it just for
Oh,
It's alright, I can't strap that.
Hey, not let's just say grab the time.
because he has a story.
Oh, why is the door open? Oh,
Hey, we're live.
open the blinds too.
Are we actually? Wait, it got
C90.
What?
What?
Does everybody have a review guide?
Yes.
All right, let's do it.
This is the review.
That's it, man. She's not thick and she doesn't have a lot of fun.
Where's Jenny?
It is simple. The side.
All right, 6th hour, let's go. So, number 1. Actually, we'll wait for breakfast people. Breakfast people, hurry up. You have 1 minute. Then I'm putting in the teacher's lounge.
We have a song while we're waiting.
I've never thought about that.
Yeah. Well, hopefully. Are you ever gonna play like the man in a basketball
Have you
game?
seen that one meme where
Lie.
I'm
Yeah.
I want to, but somebody else came, an alumni, and they wanted to play. So.
Well, they're gone. They had their time.
Yeah, well, I had my time. I don't know, I might be the best for you tonight.
I will. There's
Are you gonna
nothing
be in the crowd like, oh no?
Okay, who
Are
wants
you going tomorrow? Friday night?
I don't know, should I?
Yeah. Are you going Saturday night?
Definitely.
The other one.
So you
What?
Oh wait.
It's not letting me do the
Did the
so fat. I mean, there's a lot. Don't
That's just like cold. That's like cold.
Nope, put it away, we gotta get going. Alright, so,
Can I show you a meme?
now we've got everybody.
Shout out the truck and open the back.
Why is it warm?
Because it's been sitting there all day.
Here we go.
Out all day?
State whether each pair of triangles is provably
Isn't it not
congruent.
this Shelby's?
So there are 3 things we can say about the triangles.
Just eat us the fetus and
We can say they are congruent, ladies. We can say they are congruent, and here's why. We can say they're not congruent, and here's why. And we can say there's not enough information, so we're not sure.
It's literally just like having it in the fridge for 2 days. Literally having it sitting out for a few hours is the same as having it in the fridge for
Oh
around.
my.
Yeah, milk lasts a while.
Alicia Keys.
Slopper, bring it back.
Hey, Mr. Mac, no
This
question.
class
Yeah.
is too dysfunctional for today. Can we have a break?
That's a great question. So, Dykema is correct. We have ASS between these 2 triangles, and normally that's not a valid theorem. However, there is one case where it works, and it's when we have right triangles,
But
right?
technically it's not.
So we don't call it ASS, we call it HL, not because we're avoiding the bad word, but because HL helps us remember that it needs to be the hypotenuse and the leg. Remember, the hypotenuse is always the side that is the biggest, which means it will be the side across from the 90-degree angle. Notice that both of those match, so we have hypotenuses that match, and we have legs that match. Yes?
This isn't related to this at all. It's for my health. Is this bad for me because
Oh
it's
my God.
warm?
No, you're fine.
No, it's fine.
All right.
Leaving it out.
That means
I mean, if you don't want it, I'll take it.
for 2 days.
So by HL, we know they're congruent.
Cold.
Hey,
Yeah,
you're not
yeah,
gonna
just-
die. I'll take it if you don't want it.
That's why leaving it out for an hour is the same as leaving it in the fridge.
He
for
runs
2 days.
My mom's a murderer because she drinks eggnog.
Justin!
All right.
I got you my choice.
So about half of you
It's not
guys,
alcohol.
Yeah,
Gentlemen,
take it
shut up.
easy, Bush.
about half of you do not care whether we get through this or not, which means you're probably going to do really poorly in the quiz. But the other half really wants to, so they don't do poorly. So can you shut up so they can learn? Thank you.
So we have don't want to fail.
So, by HL, we do know they're congruent. That is another proof they're congruent. So now we have to write this part. So Schlaffer, this is the hard part. We have to write triangle ABC is congruent to this other triangle. We can't just write whatever we want in whatever order. I write the first one in alphabetical order just to make it easy for me. But afterwards, now we need to match up their parts. So A is going to match up with a different angle. So here's A on this diagram. Now you might think it matches up with D because they're both at the top, but you'd be incorrect. And here's how you know for sure where it is. Looks can be deceiving. Here's how you know for sure.
Sorry.
Angle A is made up of the hypotenuse and the missing leg, which would be a great band name. Okay? Hypotenuse and the missing leg. Here's the hypotenuse and a missing leg. So that means F must go with A. So AF.
I just looked at it and then I like.
So here's the thing. If you can visualize it, that's great, but there's going to come a point where you don't see it. You're going to have a bad day or it's going to be a harder problem. So learning how to do it with the easier stuff is going to make it so you'll always be able to do it. So it's great if you got lucky or if you're able to just see it. That's awesome. But work on knowing for sure. Yes?
How is A not the same as
It's not because we can rotate it and we can visualize it. Looks can be deceiving. Here's why A goes with F. Because A has the hypotenuse and the missing leg. And so does F. It's made up of the hypotenuse and the missing leg. So they go together.
That's a very good one.
Right? So we know they're congruent by HL, which means their parts should be congruent. So the question is, which parts are congruent? Well, A and F go together. Then we have B. Angle B, it's really easy to tell which one it goes with. What does it go with? E, because they're both the 90-degree angles. And then by process of elimination, C and D are the only ones left, so they're going to go together. However, you don't need process of elimination to know for sure. Notice that C is made up of the red and the green, so we have the hypotenuse and the known leg, and we have the hypotenuse and the known leg here, so of course they're going to go together. So C and D go together. Good?
Wait, okay.
I need you to learn this concept now because the problems will get harder and it will be more difficult to tell which angles go together, okay? It's important to look at the sides. Yes, Jenna?
So basically, this is what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the sides and the angles, and you match them.
Yeah,
Type
we're
thing.
matching them up. Right. So these two triangles are congruent. The way we write that is not just to write them in any order. We have to make sure that A and F actually do match up, and they do, right? Same thing with E and D and D and C, okay? Just because they're the same letter also doesn't mean they'll always match up. So watch out for that. Let's look at number 2. 2 has 2 sets of angles available to us, which means if we are going to prove these congruent, we need a little bit more information because we have no properties or theorems that tell us that 2 things is enough other than HL.
They share a line, right?
They do. They have a shared side. And the shared side's right here. It's AC. So first thing we're going to write is shared side because we knew that, right? You
Wait, so
have
we have
to write that.
explain it?
You have to do a little bit of explanation, right? It's a little bit different than what we've done yesterday, but it's just we're writing it.
You write
Yesterday we
What
said
do
it.
you think?
Yesterday we said it. We didn't write it.
No.
Okay. So we have a shared side, and now if you look at one triangle at a time, we have ASA, angle side angle. Does everybody see why that's angle side angle and not angle angle side?
Oh yeah, for sure. Great.
Oh,
If you thought angle angle side, what you probably did was you thought angle angle side. But that doesn't work because in order to get from this angle to that angle, I have to skip both a side and an angle to get there.
Yeah.
Can't skip that much, okay? So angle side angle right next to each other. Jenna, you doing okay?
Yeah, it's angle side angle.
Yep. Do you know why it's angle side angle and not angle angle side?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. I just want to make sure you don't do the common
Okay,
mistake.
because I thought you said angle side or something like that, and I was like, wait.
Right. That's why it's dangerous. Not that you were, Jenna, but a really common thing is for kids to zone out and they hear the thing when I say it's not that.
Oh
Be
yeah.
careful, right?
They'll bite
Don't
you.
do that.
They'll
Yes, it
bite
will.
you in the HL.
In the HL, that's right. So they have shared side ASA. Now we need to write that the triangles are congruent. So let's write that. Where's my purple pen? I have blue. I guess we. All right. So triangle ABC is the top right triangle. I always start with that one if I can. And again, I write alphabetical order just to make it easy for me. Now I can't write this one in alphabetical order because I've already set it up over here, right? I have now matched up the parts. So Schlaffer, what's your question?
I was gonna ask. I know angle side angle because I was just gonna say because is it always because the parts that connect it like it was connected like that since there's an angle that connects it and a side that connects it. See that is it?
It's not because up here they're not even connected, right?
Yeah.
It's just what matches.
For this.
We have a leg that matches and a hypotenuse that matches, so hypotenuse leg. Here I have in order an angle that matches, a side that matches, and an angle that matches. Notice that we wrote ASA. If you ever write ASA or SAS, the middle thing, make sure it actually is in the middle. See how S is between the two angles? So it's okay to use ASA. If you did AAS, that would be wrong because the segment is actually in between the two, right? The side is between the two angles. We can't do AAS because angle, side doesn't work. in order to do angle, angle, side, I have to skip both the side and an angle to get there, right? That's too much skipping, right? We want consecutive. Angle next to a side, next to an angle, okay? So now we're going to write the triangles congruent, ABC. Let's start with A. Angle A in the top triangle. So we're talking about triangle ABC, right? Angle A in the top triangle is this red angle. What angle does it go with on the bottom triangle? C. Very good. Angle B on the top triangle is this unknown angle.
So that'd be D.
So that's going to go with the other unknown angle, D. And again, even if you weren't doing processes of elimination, notice that B is made up of the two unknown sides. Same thing with D. So they're going to go together.
Wow.
Lastly, angle C on the top triangle, that's this one, right? ABC, triangle ABC, right? Angle C goes with angle A.
Oh, we didn't use enough CBD this time.
We did not, no, it's unfortunate.
Sorry, my dad don't just want to
We'll get there. Good for him.
Wait, why?
Right, in the line.
Wait,
I know
it's
you
D.
It's
D, not
D.
B.
He doesn't make much
Yeah.
D on the second.
Oh yeah, it's D. Thank you.
So
Oh, yeah.
confused.
Good call, guys.
Oh, CDA.
In my defense, I'm highly distracted.
I'm
Is that a
distracted
pun?
too, so.
What?
Because of
Hi.
me.
Why are you
Highly.
looking at me?
Yeah, you didn't catch that? You
Because-
guys are stupid.
At least you're not asking
You guys
me
are
a question.
illiterate
You're the one
degenerates.
talking.
Number 3.
You're one to talk.
Right now we have this.
Oh, I can say a lot.
We also have this.
Okay, you two, let's keep this at
What
a
else do we
PG
have?
level. Come on now.
Keep that piece.
Daikima, what else do we have?
Yogi Bear doesn't
Oh,
like
what were you
it.
asking? I'm sorry. I was trying to.
What else can I do in this?
Yogi Bear?
Well,
Woo.
that vertical angle is correct.
Yeah, that's right. Vertical angles right here and here.
I do a perfect impression.
So we have vertical angles.
You want me to picnic baskets?
Do you want us to, would you like, if, wait, will this be on the quiz?
Yes.
Do you want us to write it down?
Yes, you need to write vertical angles, okay? Eventually we'll do real proofs where we write out everything like we used to. For now we're just doing basics. Yeah.
So you can't do D.
Hold on, Laney's got a question.
Is it side, angle, side?
Not side angle side, because if we wrote that, Laney,
It's
side
angle
angle, hold on.
Why'd you take this?
Sloffer, I need you to sit down and stop screwing around, okay? Side angle side doesn't work because that would imply that the angle's between the two sides.
Which means
Here's the
it's
angle, it's not in between the two sides. Again, look at one triangle at a time, right? It's gonna be angle side side, but here's the problem. Is ASS a good theorem? No. HL maybe, right? But do we know it's a right triangle? We do not. Even though it looks like it, we don't know. So it's not enough. So we write unknown.
Well, that's one of those tricky ones.
Yeah, it's one that we actually don't know. It's not that we know they're not congruent, because that's saying they're not the same. They could be, right? We just don't have enough to say they are, right? So it's unknown. So SAS isn't it. It's ASS, and that's not enough to prove triangle congruent.
So then will we not write down that it's congruent? No,
You just write down vertical angles unknown.
Okay.
Okay? IDK is a valid answer, right?
Well, I have a question.
Actually,
If
Is Jesus
I don't
a
know
valid
if
answer?
it would be the,
according to Maxine Wayne.
I don't think so.
like, they're connected by the points, but if they were connected by the other way, would it still be vertical angles? You know what I'm saying, or
You
no?
mean if
because
the sides
vertical
were lined
angles are
up?
only if the angles are touching.
So vertical angles, Schlaffer, is just when we have two lines that are intersecting, right? Whenever we have two lines that intersect, we have top and bottom angles be the same. No matter what I do, the top and bottom are all the same thing as left and right. So here's two lines intersecting, two angles the same. Turns out this is the same as that as well, right?
Great.
That's all that is. So unless you have that, you can't use vertical angles. Number 4, Schlaffer, what do you see?
See, scissors.
Very good. So scissor theorem, vertical angles, right?
But this is a different kind of scissor.
It just looks a little different.
Not what I'm used to.
Oh.
They're so funny.
So would it be the same answer?
I don't know. Before, we had angle side side, which is not a
Could
valid
this be
theorem.
SAS?
Hold on. We've got angle side side, which is not a valid theorem, right? Only works when they're right angles, and we don't have right angles. For 4, on the other hand, Sloffer, what do you see?
What? That's it? What do I see?
Yeah, so what theorem will we use to prove congruent if we can?
Scissors.
Nope, that proves
Oh,
those two.
well,
Prove the triangles.
Side, angle, side.
Side, angle, side, exactly, in that order. If we cover up one triangle, it's easy to see that we have an angle between two sides. So side, angle, side. Now let's write the triangles congruent.
So
So
on-
triangle ABC, what, Schlaffer?
So on number 3, if the congruent mark was
AC and CD, yeah, it would be enough, because then we'd have side, angle, side. Right. Good question. Again, don't memorize that. That's not gonna bode well for you. But yes, that would work in that case. So ABC, the top triangle. Let's look at the bottom triangle. Angle A is this angle right here.
Correct. Bingo.
That's going to match up with either D or E.
I'm gonna say D.
It looks like E because they're both on the bottom, but it turns out that's not the case. Look at A's sides. A has 2 marks and no marks.
Oh, yeah.
E has 1 mark and no marks.
Is that D?
So the correct answer is the 2 mark and no mark over here, which is 2 marks, no marks, that's angle D. Again, look at the sides.
Let's go, baby. You got it right.
So D and A are connected. B is going to be this angle up here, and that's going to connect with E. And again, not by process of elimination, although that is true, but because B has a blue side and an unknown side. Blue side, unknown side. So B and E go together. And then C and C go together in this case because of the vertical angles, right? In this case, the letter does go with itself. How do we feel?
I feel honestly great.
Look, this is a really dumb thing to get wrong on your quiz, right? Because it's really easy once you know what you're doing. But if you don't know what you're doing, it's because you don't see it. It doesn't mean you're dumb. So, before I answer your question, I want to remind you, don't let me forget.
Biscuit.
I want to remind you of what we did last semester, okay?
So back to the.
A lot of geometry, really math in general, is about being able to see what's going on. It has nothing to do whether you're smart or dumb. If you're not seeing it, it's okay to say you're not. I'm going to give you 5 seconds to answer this question. Ready, set, go. How many triangles? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
4.
6, 4, 2, 5, 3, 4, 3, 5, 1,
I'm saying 3. I'm probably wrong. but-
3.
We've done this before.
All right, so
We've done it before.
the 2 things you need to know to be able to do this problem are what is a triangle, right? You need to know what a triangle is, and you need to know how to count, right? Now, a lot of you guys got this problem wrong. Is it because you didn't know how to count?
Yeah.
No. Is it because you didn't know what a triangle was? No. It's because you just didn't see it yet. It's okay to not see something. It doesn't mean you're dumb. Most of the stuff on here, if you're not getting it, it's just because you're not seeing it. Please raise your hand and ask so someone can show you. Because once I show you the answer, you'll be like, oh, of course, how could it be anything else? We have 1, 2,
Oh, it is 6.
3, 4,
Son of a biscuit.
Oh, it's not a triangle because
5 triangles.
Oh, I was right.
Hell yeah. Technically. It's not a triangle.
Good job, you saw it, right? But that doesn't mean you're smarter than anybody. It just means you saw it. You saw the optical illusion. You knew what you were looking
It's
for.
also the fact that we have 5
Right?
seconds.
I've also done this before. I did it first semester.
Yeah, you
Embarrassingly
did.
enough, right? But the point stands. This is math, guys. It's not that you're dumb and you don't know how to count. You don't know what triangles. It's you just don't see it yet. So when you're struggling with these, please raise your hand and say, "I don't see it," and so I can show you. And then you go, "Oh, of course. How could it be anything
Don't
else?"
have shame.
Okay.
Okay, so for these
Wait.
last 2, 3, 4,
Last 2, 3, and 4.
what is the difference between the 2?
Great question. Check it out. So, let me get a fresh one because I've got a bunch of other marks on there now. 3 and 4. So we have vertical angles for both of them. That's true, right?
Yes.
But if we look at the first triangle, we've got angle, side, side, or SSA, right? Forward or backwards works.
And that's not a...
And that's not a theorem. Ass or ass backwards doesn't work.
Let's know.
Unless there's a right angle,
Debbie, get
and then we can use HL, like we did here.
Okay.
Okay? Here, we have side, angle, side. And that's a valid theorem.
She here.
Yeah.
So like Schlaffer was saying, if I had given you this, then you could have done that, right? That would be side, angle, side, and that'd be fine, right?
Yeah.
But we don't know that, so we can't conclude. It's not enough information. Great question,
Back to
Caleb.
5. I'm confused.
Yep, here we go.
Mr. Mac, throw it away.
We have a side matching, an angle matching,
No.
and a side matching.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Sass.
So it looks like SAS, right? Side, angle, side. But it actually isn't, because if you look over here, we have ASS. So while they have a lot of things in common, it doesn't necessarily mean they're the same. So we don't have
But
enough
if they were
information.
on the longer side, then they would be,
Yeah, exactly. If that red mark was
So,
over
if
here,
I'm saying it's unknown.
and then it would be like a valid.
it'd be side, angle, side, right?
Okay.
So it's unknown.
But it's not, so it's unknown. We don't have enough information. They're very similar, but there just isn't enough, so it's unknown.
Thank God. I was looking at it. I'm like, I bet this is gonna be unknown.
Do not let this one trip you up tomorrow. Again,
just took
a
word.
very
Yeah, it's
easy
gonna
way to get
be
tripped up, right?
What?
The parts actually have to match in the right order. We have side, But then the angle should match, it should be between the two sides. See how we have two sides and an angle in between? That angle's over there, it's in the wrong spot. And there's no way to flip it or do anything else to get it in the right spot. They're just, we don't know if they're
So
congruent.
what do you say?
We don't know, it's unknown.
Can I say IDK?
Yep.
I
Will
get
you
yelled
just
at
throw
in seventh grade by
something
Dennis the
away?
Menace Weston because I put I don't know on the test.
6.
Dennis the Menace. Yeah.
What do you see? Slopper, what do you see?
Me? On 6?
No.
Yeah.
Wait a second. I think they are congruent.
They will be, but we don't know how yet.
Side.
They have a shared side,
Side,
right?
side, side.
It will be side, side, side because we have a shared side here. So first off, write shared side, because that's how we know CD is congruent to itself, right?
Okay. Just write all the sides.
And then we're gonna write side, side, side.
Just a quick question. If you forget to write like shared side to bond, is that a whole point
Yes, I will take
Damn.
points off, okay? Here's the deal. I can give you points for something that's really, really easy and then your grade gets boosted. Or I can give you points for something that's really easy and you miss it and your grade goes down.
I have a question.
I'm gonna try to give you those points. Again, I lower the bar, what do you guys do? You end up tripping over it,
Raise it.
right? Don't trip over it. Yes.
How many problems are
I'd
there?
really
I don't
rather-
know, but it'll be less than 8.
Are those scissors?
Yeah? So let me
Where was
do-
that?
So-
Gentlemen, I need you to stop because I can't hear what they're saying and you're being obnoxious. Either get funny or shut up. And you're not capable of being funny. And you know I think you're funny most of the time. But today you're just not. Okay? Slopper. Slopper. You're just not being very funny
I
right now.
got you.
Okay? Yeah.
So ass and ass backwards are not. What about AAS?
Anything, all of them are fine except for ass and ass backwards and
And then the
triple A.
doubles. So any doubles. Yeah.
Well,
Triple
yeah,
A's.
you need at least 3 pieces of information unless we're talking HL, right?
Yeah.
Is this live?
Yes.
Triple A not valid because you're skipping a side.
Triple A is not valid because you could imagine 2 triangles that are different sizes but have the same angles. For instance, imagine a 60-60-60 triangle, right? For 60 degrees everywhere. That's an equilateral triangle. Now imagine a bigger equilateral triangle, right? They would be similar, but they wouldn't be congruent. Boogie. Okay? So we have side, side, side. That's valid. Now let's write that the triangles are congruent. So ABC. Slopper, please put the phone away.
Sorry.
ABC's top triangle, bottom triangle. Let's label the parts.
Does it match up with A? Match up with D?
A does match up with D, not because you can fold it, because it turns out if you were to cut this out and fold it, it would not work. A would fold down to here, actually. It would fold a little bit off. So, again, check the side. See how that has a 1 and a 2? So does D. That's why they're the same. So A matches up with D. Do we understand that concept?
Yeah, I understand that.
Okay. Let's check angle B now. Angle B is this angle. And you might think, oh, fold it. It goes down here to the other angle B. Wrong.
No, it's
It would
the
not.
Side. You have to go based off the side.
Look how that's 1 and 3. This is 1 and 3. So it's going to go with C on the other triangle. Are you smelling what I'm stepping? It is a really dumb thing to be confused about, right? Like, or not confused about. It's a really dumb thing to get wrong in your test, right? So make sure you actually get it. If you do not get it, raise your hand, tell me, and I'll be able to show you how it works, okay?
Would it be DC?
C on the top triangle is going to be congruent to B on the bottom triangle.
Let's go.
Because C on the top triangle is a 2 and a 3, and B on the bottom triangle is a 2 and a 3. Okay? Again, check the sides. Side, side, side is really easy to get right, but it's hard to write the angles because you have to check all the sides to figure it out. You don't get any free angles, right? So, first part, really easy, right? Oh, all 3 sides. Second part, it's hard to figure out what angles go with what. Don't just fold it and think you're good, okay? 7.
The one from earlier.
Chance, what do you notice?
Vertical angle.
Vertical angles, that's right, so we're going to write that down, vertical angles. And now remember, you can write VAT for vertical angles theorem, VAT. We have vertical angles. We also have these 2 angles given to us, and then these 2 little bits given to us as well. So, do we have enough information to prove them congruent?
No.
Why not?
Because. Well, it would have to be like side angle angle.
Angle it.
Side angle, angle is a valid one. It is. Side angle, angle, or angle, angle, side are fine. They're both the same, forward and backwards, right?
Angle side angle.
Remember, the only 2 that don't work is ass and ass backwards, right? ASS and SSA. And then AAA, AAA, right?
ASA.
ASA does work, yeah. So this would be AAS. See how we have 2 angles in a row and then a side? You could also write SAA. You can't write ASA. Does everybody see that?
Yeah.
ASA would require you doing angle, skip a bunch of stuff, and then go to a side.
Yeah, so
right?
it's angle, angle, side.
Yep, it's angle, angle, side, or side, angle, angle, right?
Angle, angle,
Forward
side.
and backwards is the same, guys. It's you just can't rearrange them. right? So SAA or AAS works. I'm going to write AAS. Now let's write the triangles congruent. We've got triangle ABC on the left. And then for the right side triangle, let's match them up. A is the red angle, so what angle does it match up on the other triangle? D. B is this unknown angle, so it's going to match with the unknown angle over here. However, it's also going to match up because it has a 1 tick over here, right? 1 tick mark, no tick marks. 1 tick mark, no tick marks. The sides match too.
What's
So,
it put under
E.
And then C.
And then C goes with the sub, right?
Can you
Gives it
move it
vertical.
over?
Yes, I can.
love this.
Thank you.
How do we feel about this?
Dude, I don't know why I'm on fire.
It's like one thing I remember
It's like
from last year.
impossible if you don't see it, if you're not seeing what I'm doing. But it's really easy once you know what's going on. Okay? It's like checkers. You didn't just first sit down to a checkerboard and just know how to play, right? You had to learn the first time. But after you learned it, things felt natural. But someone has to show you at first. You're not going to know that you can't move backwards until someone says you can, right? There's no way to figure that out on your own. Same thing here. You have to match up the parts. How to do that, I can show you. Hopefully you're seeing. All right. I was going to give you guys a break between 7 and 8, but we are pretty much running out of time, so we don't have the ability
10
to do
seconds?
that. No. So, no. First off, how many triangles do you see?
1, 2, 3, 4.
5.
No,
5. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 big right triangle, 5 other big right triangle. So we have lots of triangles we could potentially prove congruent. All the others we only had 2 every time, right? So,
Why don't we do it?
Hey, I have a
in two
question.
days?
what's your question, Dagmar?
How do you find the 2 right triangles? How do you tell those?
We're going to do them all. Don't worry.
Alright, then I'll get it then.
Yep. So here we go.
What'd you do?
Oh, found it.
All right. We need to add more information onto this diagram because right now all we know is sides and a set of angles. We don't have enough to do anything yet. So what else are we missing from this diagram?
Right
that we can fill
angle.
in?
Shared
Aren't they sharing a line?
I need
They
to-
are. So check it out. The
Yeah.
big right triangle and the other big right triangle both share DC, right?
Yes.
So they share that side. So we're going to write shared side. Now, can we prove those 2 big right triangles congruent with that information? Well, if you check it out, we've got angle, side, side going on. That's ASS, not a proper theorem. However, are they right triangles?
Yeah.
Yes, so we really can use HL. Notice, we have the hypotenuse and a leg. We have the hypotenuse and a leg.
And they look the same distance.
Doesn't matter if they look the same. I can give you really crappy looking diagrams and mark them to say that they're the same, and that would be fine. Don't use looks. I will do that to you. Yeah.
So we're just doing the big triangles, not the little triangles?
Yep, so right now we're just going to do the 2 big triangles.
This
Does
is like a math lesson and a life lesson all in one.
Does everybody? Yes, it is. Every
Can you
day
not
it
use
is.
HP?
Notice that the pink triangle is what we're talking about. It has a leg and a hypotenuse, and it shares with the other triangle, a leg and a hypotenuse, right?
Yep.
These both match. So, we can do HL for both. Do you see it now?
Yeah.
Okay, again, seeing it is the hard
Yeah.
part. It doesn't mean you're dumb if you don't see it, so please ask. HL, hypotenuse and leg. Not leg, right? Hypotenuse and a leg. Hypotenuse is always the biggest side, so one across from the 90 degree.
Could you have just said that because there's right angles shown? Can't you just?
No, I can give you right angles and not have them be congruent. Think of a right triangle, now think of a bigger one, right? They're not congruent. All right, so HL. That tells us that these 2 triangles are congruent. So first off, we have the blue triangle. I'm going to call that ACD. Again, I try to keep it in alphabetical order when I can. And that's going to be congruent to the
If I
pink
do it
triangle.
the other way, is that fine with the test? If I do it ADC?
Yeah, that's fine, as long as you match up the letters correctly. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So now the other triangle. Angle A is the right angle for the blue triangle.
Yeah.
So what's it going to match up with on the pink?
B.
B. Is everybody seeing that?
Yes.
Okay. Now C. C on the blue triangle is this angle. Be careful. It's this part. Right here. That's it. Just that amount, right? Not the whole thing. Just part of that blue triangle. Right there. What's it going to match up with? D. How do we know that? Oh, because it looks the same. No. Because look at C. It is composed of the missing leg and the hypotenuse. Look at the other one. Missing leg, hypotenuse. That's what makes up angle D. Does everybody see that? I'm going to do it one more time. Angle C is made up of the missing leg and the hypotenuse. Angle D on the other triangle is also made up of the missing leg and the hypotenuse. So they will end up matching. Once we know the triangles are congruent, we know something has to match. Well, it's going to be the ones that have the same legs, right? So those 2 go together. So D and C go together. After that, angle D on the blue triangle is what we're talking about. So just the blue triangle. Here's angle D. Angle D is this whole angle for the big blue triangle, right? That whole angle.
Oh,
Do you see that? How this right here is the angle of this big triangle? Again, ignore that line that's cutting through there. Right, we're just talking about that angle. And now, when I cover this up, it's going to be this angle that works for the pink triangle. And that's because this guy is made up of the side we know and the hypotenuse.
It's kind of like.
This one is also the side we know and the hypotenuse. So blue goes together with blue.
Could it be
Oh, goodness,
determined like
Jan.
because they kind of?
Oh, goodness.
That's a weird way to think about it.
Oh, goodness.
Are we okay? I'm not asking you about that. Are we okay with this?
Yeah. So is angle E just irrelevant in this whole thing?
It's a great question.
Not really.
So we've already proved the two big right triangles congruent. We have other triangles that can potentially be congruent though, right? The small right triangle here and the small right triangle here. They could be congruent. We should check that. I don't really need to check the big one down here, right? So, because my diagram's a mess, I'm going to get a clean one. There are actually two answers here. First, we proved the big right triangles congruent. We did that. But there's more to be done. The two small ones can be proven as well. So let me go back with a clean slate. And let's prove the two small right triangles together congruent. So this triangle and this triangle. Do you see them?
Yeah.
Okay. So what we learned from earlier is that we had matching sides here, right? And a bunch of other stuff. But none of that's going to be relevant for these two triangles, right? So we're still missing information. Does anybody see it?
Do they share E?
Chance. Vertical angles. Nailed it. Those two are vertical.
So does that mean they're sharing E?
Don't worry about sharing. They have vertical angles. Remember, vertical angles is whenever you have two lines intersecting, the top and bottom will always be the same, and the sides will always be the same.
Future reference.
Right? That's vertical angles. Scissor theorem, right? Your words, not mine. So now that we know we have an angle, angle, side, is that enough to prove them congruent?
Yeah.
Angle, angle, side does work, right?
You can't put ABC.
So we have vertical angles, and the triangles are congruent by AAS. So now we write which triangles are congruent, because there's a lot of different triangles, right? The triangle we're saying is congruent is ADE, and we're saying it's congruent to the other triangle. Now we have to be careful in how we write it, right? We can't just write CBD or CBE. We have to make sure the parts match up. So angle A matches up with what angle on the other triangle? B, because they're both the right angles. D on this triangle, that's this angle right here, is going to match up. I should have used a different color. Here's black. It's going to match up with C on the other triangle. Not because they look the same, okay? Because I guarantee that'll screw some of you over tomorrow. It's because we have matching side, right, with the hypotenuse. Matching side with the hypotenuse. They both have the same sides, right? So C and D go together. Lastly, E goes with itself because of vertical angles, right? Not always will the same letter match up like this. Not always. Sometimes they do, right?
Then if they're not gonna match up, then is it still gonna be vertical angles?
In this case, they did match up because they're vertical angles, yes. Other times we might have stuff that doesn't match up. So for instance, notice on this one that C matched up with A and didn't match up with itself. Haley, are you still with me?
Yeah,
C matched up with A and not with itself in
but
this
those
one.
are shared sides.
Yeah, exactly. So sometimes it won't happen. Vertical angles will always match up themselves, right? I mean, think about it, right? They're going to be congruent. So they'll be the same. How do you feel about 8?
But you're gonna want both of these in some test.
The directions say, state whether each pair of triangles is provably congruent. So if I give you a pair of triangles like that, or like this,
That would be uncool.
right? Sometimes there's more than one pair of triangles.
Sucks. I'm good.
All right. How do you feel? We're going back through it, so I need your eyes. How do you feel about the first one? Hypotenuse laid.
Easy.
Do you see it? Again, if you want to write ASS, ask yourself if really what you want to write is HL. HL is only possible with right triangles. Do we feel good about matching up the letters now? Again, checking the sides to figure out what angles go with which angles? Okay, not just because they look the same. Because for instance, number 2, you might think that, or actually not this one. Was it this one?
I don't know.
For instance, number 6, you might think, oh, fold it over, right? But it turns out it doesn't work. Yeah, A and D are the same, but if you folded it, they wouldn't end up in the same spot. If you folded it over, A would end up somewhere down here. So it's not just because it looks like it is. That does not work. Back to number 2. Angle, side, angle. We feel good about that concept. And know how it's not angle, angle, side. I don't want to see any of that tomorrow, please. Seeing vertical angles for number 3, we're pretty good at, right? You've been doing a good job with that. Not enough because ASS and they're not right triangles. You cannot assume that these are right angles just because they look like right angles. Okay? Doesn't matter. I have a computer program that makes this, and I can only draw right triangles and equilateral triangles. Okay? It's gonna happen. What?
Is the reason you can't do side angles because you'd be skipping that angle?
No, side angle isn't a valid proof. The ones that don't work, right? ASA, all that stuff, that all works. The 3 that don't work are angle, 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 side, side. They actually don't work, right? It doesn't prove it. And then side, angle. And if you notice, these are just backwards and forwards of each other.
Alright, so SSA and A.
What's that? What mathematics science is?
Right, exactly. So ass and ass backwards don't work, right? ASA works, SAS works, double AS works, of course S double A works, right? Et cetera, et cetera. Okay? Yes, Haley.
How many questions are there?
Less than 8. I don't know, I haven't made it yet. I'm not going to give you more than the review. I'd rather be silly. 4. Angles did match, so we had vertical angles. Side angle, side. Again, matching up the angles is important. A lot of you guys said A and E were going to go together. Not true. Don't just go off looks.
Is this live?
Yeah. 5. Again, it looks like they should be because we have a lot of stuff in common, but they weren't because this guy has the angle in between the 2 sides, and this guy has the angle to the side of the 2 sides. 6, seeing the shared side. You guys are pretty good at that, right? Side, 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 super easy. Matching up the angles, a little bit more difficult, right? 7, vertical angles, angle, angle, side. 8. We have triangles here that are congruent. Again, I'm going to give you a different diagram than this. It might not look exactly like that. You need to find the different triangles, label the different stuff, and see if you can prove them congruent. Okay? I'm not guaranteeing it's going to look just like that tomorrow.
So we're doing how are the big triangles congruent, now are the small ones congruent? If that's that case.
They will be. This one we know by angle, angle, side, right? Because those angles are vertical, right? And then for the other ones, we knew by, hard to see now, but we knew by, what do we know by? Hypotenuse leg. Hypotenuse leg, right? Again, not guaranteeing it's going to look just like that tomorrow. There are lots of different ways to arrange triangles. If you know your crap, you'll be able to do it even if you've never seen it before. That's the whole point of learning, right? Telling someone the answer is not learning, right? Saying, here's how you do this one, right? But understanding why it works is actual learning. And you better bet I'll put stuff like that on there, because that's what I want to test. Do you know your crap? Not just do you have it memorized.
Are we done?
I think so. How do you feel? First quiz of the semester tomorrow.
I think it should be alright.
None of my quizzes are easy.
Except for this one.
No, this one is simple and short.
Shut up.
Turn that off.
I'll take responsibility.
All right. Again, I'm not mad. I just want you to be funny
That's
if you're gonna
annoying.
interrupt me.
But
Right?
it was funny.
That's all I want. For some of you, that's a really tough task,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So just know your abilities, right?
I'm funny.
I may or may not be at the basketball game tonight. I want to go to the first one. I don't know if I'm playing drums. I don't think so.
What?
I think so,
Play
right?
drums?
Right?
Come on,
Why would
please.
I haven't been asked. Why would I?
Shred the drums.
I'm asking you right now.
I'll
Come
be
play
there.
drum set.
I will
Shred
be
the
at the
drums.
basketball game for the beginning of it. I don't know if I'll be there long enough to play.
I know you touched my drum
Dude,
set.
we're
got
only
stuff.
there for the first half.
Oh,
It's
whoa,
really
whoa,
not
no,
hard.
Step Brothers is so
I'll
awesome.
give you
I
food.
love that movie, bro.
I just got stuff. Okay.
Great movie.
Why would you put?
Dude,
Hey, man.
You play with your best friends.